All right.
Alexa, tell us about Blood Feast.
I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again?
Alexa, Blood Feast.
This might answer your question. Blood Feast is a 1963 horror film starring William Kerwin, Mal Arnold, and Connie Mason. An Egyptian caterer kills various women in suburban Miami to use their body parts to revive a dormant Egyptian goddess while an inept police detective tries to track him down. The film is 1 hour and 7 minutes long. The movie has a rating of 5 out of 10 on IMDb based on around 7,000 votes.
That sums it up.
Wow,
perfectly.
Alexa.
All right, well, we're done.
You didn't have to take away my job.
Well, there goes plot summary.
Well, yeah, Alexa summed up the plot. Honestly, probably a little bit better.
Yeah.
This is a movie about a guy who's supposed to be Egyptian and is... Honestly, the plot of this movie is pretty similar to Blood Diner, except there's less going on in this movie than there was in Blood Diner.
Yeah. Well, this is B-Views, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Johnny Juicebox.
I'm Mike Shake.
Welcome to B-Views, the worst produced show on the internet.
We're rolling right now. Yes, sir. Yeah, so we watched Blood Feast. We watched one of the OG...
Herschel Gordon Lewis made this movie.
Yeah, and we actually just listened to the commentary track, too.
We did listen to the commentary track on this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Because I have a really nice Arrow version of this movie.
You do.
You can get this. It comes with 13 other Herschel Gordon Lewis movies.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's a great little collection.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. It was it's quite the eye opener, especially for 63.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say the movie looks really good for 63, but we watched this really nice restored 2K version of it. So
right. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
I used to watch this on VHS.
Yeah.
So this was a lot better.
The first time I watched it was on Prime.
Okay.
And it was probably not much better than that VHS.
Okay. Sure.
For a while, I didn't realize that this movie had dialogue.
Yeah. It has a little dialogue, not too much.
A little.
Yeah, not too much.
They really do the show don't tell thing in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we got Fuad Ramsey, who's a butcher or a store guy.
Well, he does exotic catering.
Yes. Yes.
And
it's quite exotic.
I don't think we ever see the finished feast.
No.
But it's definitely, like, some shit was going to go down at this feast in the end, no matter what.
Uh-huh.
If everything went fine and, like, the whole thing didn't break down and, like, he got chased by the police and everything.
Uh-huh.
Even if, like, everything went perfectly according to plan at this feast, based on what we see of the food he's making, people would have freaked the fuck out.
Of course.
Because, like, he was cooking just, like, full people legs and shit.
Right. And where was that? Was that really in the garage at the end?
I don't know. I think it must have been, right?
I don't know. He was going to sacrifice Connie.
I mean, there was some stuff left over at the original place.
Excuse me, really a lot left over. I mean,
he left a whole corpse there.
He did. Yeah. Yeah, Trudy was the one who left.
Yep.
When he was whipping him with cotton.
Alright, this was a great commentary because, like, Herschel Gordon Lewis and David Friedman, I think his name was, the producer and the director of the movie, they actually went into, like, some pretty... They went into the weeds with how they made this movie, and I'm down with that.
I like that.
Sometimes you'll watch commentaries and, like, they won't really say much about the movie at all.
Nope.
Which is... There are two types of commentaries, I feel like. There's, like, the really technical aspect ones, and that's what I expect with commentaries from, like, directors and behind-the-scenes guys.
Yep.
But when you have commentaries with actors, I'm expecting them to be, like... to do their actory thing a little bit and be entertaining, and they can talk a little bit about the acting aspects of it, but really I don't care too much about hearing about behind the scenes
Right.
stuff from an actor.
Right.
But my favorite line from that whole commentary was definitely my favorite line was this is what we call padding. You do it to get the movie to be feature length.
I like that. And it still wasn't even close.
Oh my god, this movie is 67 minutes long.
It is very short.
Yeah. This is a classic.
It is.
All right, so you know how they do the horror movie iceberg thing, right?
Yeah.
Which level do you think this is at with the horror movie iceberg? Because honestly, I feel like this movie is probably like you've got what's usually the top one called? That's like the S tier or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's where everyone's heard of it, and it's definitely not there.
No. I would say it's A or B.
You think?
Yeah.
Because,
for horror enthusiasts, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, because that's the idea of that iceberg thing, is it's like there's the tip of the iceberg, and that's like all the things that everybody knows.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely A or B for sure.
You think it's that far up?
I think it should be.
Because I would think it would be like C. Because I feel like not as many people know this movie as they should, especially since I'm pretty sure this movie started a lot of things that we see in low-budget horror movies, because this movie was in 1963, and a lot of stuff that this movie does, we end up seeing later on in movies.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Like they were talking about even Friday the 13th and Halloween. You know, you get a knife-wielding maniac with, who is basically, trying to get the teenagers or even, the younger people, which Ramses does.
Like, honestly, this is pretty close to a slasher film.
Yeah.
And being a 1963 movie, that means theoretically you could call this the first slasher movie, even though for some reason this is not considered a slasher.
Right. I think it is.
I can kind of see both ways on it. Because
I just
it doesn't have that slasher feel, but a lot of that slasher feel comes from movies being made in the 80s.
Yeah. Right. And this is a early 60s movie.
Yeah.
And this is early 60s.
Yeah, like 63. That is... this, other than Invisible Man, this is probably the earliest movie we've watched.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Invisible Man, I want to say, is 1940.
Ooh, it's old.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep. That's one of our earliest ones, so if you want to go watch that bad boy.
Oh, man. That's I think our coverage of The Invisible Man is literally us just saying, there's not really much we can say that hasn't been said, and then we just stop. And then we talk about Hollow Man for like an hour.
Is that right? Shit. We may redo that.
Because I remembered going to edit that and being like, I can't edit this. This is one of the ones. Yeah, I deemed it uneditable. Okay. Just because it's fucking nonsense.
Right. Okay.
Our old videos are bad, but worth watching.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
you can see us grow.
Yeah, you can. Obviously.
I hate how a lot of YouTubers like pull down their early work because they're like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed about this," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going to be embarrassed about something that I put out.
I know.
I'm not. That's just a silly concept. I think.
Right, but we still do have one waiting out there that we have not put out there.
Yeah, because I think we need to re-record it. Just because when I went through to look over it, that was the one I determined I don't think this video has enough in it.
Oh. Well, we were waiting on somebody else to do it with us.
And then we were like, oh, well, yeah, there were a lot of things. Because I went through it. I think the whole video is only like 16 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, this is our lost episode.
Yeah.
But our fake lost episode. Because theoretically, I could just throw it out there. Yeah, y'all could watch it if you want. But I don't think it's as good as our other videos.
Yeah.
And than our real Lost episode, which is the Generation War for the Blob.
You're legit Lost ones.
Legit Lost. It's gone.
Right.
That shit's gone. It doesn't exist. Sorry, guys. It's deleted. I even have the notes in my notebook for it, but it's... We'll redo that one at some point.
Yeah. Because I was not a part of that.
I love the Blob.
Right. I was not a part of that Gen War.
We could do that as like episode 100.
We could.
Although it wouldn't be episode 100 because it's a generational one.
I know.
We can release it to celebrate 100 episodes of B-Views.
We could.
We're at 74 recording.
How about that?
Yeah.
We're only 26 away.
This is going to be the 76th episode.
How about that?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. We've been doing this for 3 years now. Just about.
Almost. The channel, I think, was made in June of 2020, so... No, that can't be right.
No, we did Invisible Man in March, right before the pandemic started.
Well, we recorded it then.
Yeah, we recorded it that same day.
Did we upload it that same day?
I don't know.
Because I think we recorded it and then released later. Anyway, this is behind the scenes shit that
I know. Hey, that's
give a fuck about.
That's all right. That's good stuff.
Man,
now you're seeing a little bit behind the scenes.
We watched a commentary and now we're in commentary mode.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but I mean, Blood Feast is a very, very important film in terms of horror.
Yeah, they use a lot of real animal parts.
They do.
On the set of this movie.
They do.
And that's not a abnormal thing for a lot of these older movies.
No, not at all.
Because that was one of my favorite things because people always talked about like, oh, they used real skeletons in Poltergeist, but like the thing that I never understood why people freaked out so much about that, and that's gonna sound crazy to people, but hear me out. I knew that up until like the 1980s, I think it was pretty normal for them to just have real human skeletons in classrooms,
right?
Because that's just kind of where you got your skeletons from.
Right.
And like if you donated your body to science, a lot of the times one of the things they do with bones is like, oh, it was a normal skeleton.
Right.
It can be a classroom skeleton. Yeah. It's a teaching skeleton now. I think they called them teaching skeletons.
Okay.
So it was like basically to help teach people anatomy of the skeleton.
Sure.
And so all of those older movies, like you would see skeletons in like fucking House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, sure.
The skeleton in House on Haunted Hill is a human skeleton. Okay. It's a real human skeleton.
All right.
All of the skeletons you see there, because it for one thing, people just, it never occurred to them to make a fake skeleton for that at that point, because it was so much cheaper to just buy, to just go to one of these, I mean, they have one of those places in fucking, we didn't talk about it, but it's Return of the Living Dead. Mm-hmm. The whole thing takes place in a body supply store. Yeah. Or like a cadaver supply warehouse. And that they would literally just go to a cadaver supply warehouse and be like, hey, I have $40. Can I have a skeleton?
Right, pretty wild.
And like it made sense.
Right.
It made more sense to do that than like go and make this thing that didn't really exist.
Right.
So they would have to like sculpt it and everything, and it just cost less.
Right.
So before Poltergeist, like all of the skeletons that you would see in movies were also real skeletons.
Right.
And then they talked in a show I watched. It was Cursed Films. They were talking about Poltergeist, and the guy, the special effects guy who was on Poltergeist, he like freaked the fuck out during when he was asked about that, because he was like, okay, come on guys, let's not be children about the fact that we used real skeletons. Yeah, they were probably real skeletons. You know who else used real skeletons? Pretty much every other movie.
Right.
Because that's just what you would, when you go and buy a skeleton, that's what you do.
Right. Okay. All right.
But real body parts are a very normal thing that get used in movies.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
Now, we can talk about the morality of that as much as we want. Like, we could talk about it eternally, probably. Right. I mean, I just ranted for 5 minutes about fucking skeletons.
You did.
It wasn't really a rant. I just want to teach our audience something. This is an educational show.
Absolutely.
But not really, because we say fuck all the time.
I know.
and barely talk about the movie.
I know. Yeah, so they used, a sheep's tongue, right?
They used a sheep's tongue that apparently was rotting at the time, so they doused it in pine salt.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Oh, that's a gross
That's disgusting.
thought. Yeah.
Oh, that's appalling.
It's pretty gross.
Oh, that is appalling.
That's probably why they don't use real body parts as often.
Right.
Because I know that's a thing that... who was it? Sam Raimi, I think. Oh. And he talked about making his movie, and he was like... he talked about making movies like, you can just go and like get leftover parts from the butcher for like fucking pennies. They'll just like give it to you because they don't have anything to do with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you can just go and buy like a bunch of entrails or whatever you're looking for from a butcher.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it would probably be harder nowadays to do that because how many butchers do you know?
Right. Not many.
But you know what I mean. It's a cheaper way to get your special effects.
Right.
So it makes sense for a low budget movie like this one to be able to go
$24,500.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yep.
A good chunk of change. Back then, that actually was a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Yep.
You said that's how much it cost to make the movie?
Yep. It was $24,500.
Oh. That's like $200,000 now. That's like nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Although that's like double the budget. That would be like double the budget of fucking Clerks.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure he said Clerks had a budget of $100,000.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about the good.
The good. I actually like a lot of the special effects in this movie.
Okay.
Even though all of the kills are like cutaway shots, they don't show knives going into bodies very often.
Right.
Which I don't think that happened very much until Tom Savini, really.
Right.
I think he's kind of the pioneer on that one.
Sure.
It's like, if you're going to do the effect, you got to make it go in. Right. You got to show the whole thing.
Uh-huh. Right.
But it's always like you show the girl screaming, and then they cut to the guy, and then he comes down with the knife or whatever, and does the whole thing. Yeah. And then it's always him picking up, holding. Yeah. It's just scenes of him holding guts.
Yeah. Got a lot of brains.
Yeah. I liked the idea that he talked about was like mixing gelatin into the.
I always thought it was jelly.
Mixing little bits of gelatin into the fake blood, and then like having that just kind of mixed in. Yeah. That. Right. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I did. I always thought it was jelly, but
I could see that. But I mean, gelatin, jelly,
same thing.
I mean,
kind of same thing.
They're pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. About anything else?
I like the special effects. As far as story goes, there's not much happening in this movie.
No, it's a very low budget.
What Alexa described is
that's literally what
basically
happens.
Beat for what the movie is.
Yeah. He's basically trying to. It's like Blood Diner. He's trying to create an ancient Egyptian goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or some such thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Because the goddess is Ishtar in this movie.
Ishtar.
But Sheba is the goddess in Blood Diner.
Yep.
This is a fun movie to do so close to Blood Diner.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty down for this.
Uh-huh.
And to think, I already had this movie in my collection.
You did. You did.
We should do more out of this set.
We could.
Because there are
you got a lot of sets.
I have a lot of movies and a lot of sets and a lot of stuff we got to go through.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I'd say for myself, the good is just, like I told you, it was one of the first eye-opening deaths in terms of film history.
Oh, yeah, like the first... Yep. What you mean by that is it was one of the first,
literally
deaths with the eyes open.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about, but that's literally one of the first ones.
Like, because you were like, this is one of the first ones, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of a weird thing.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Also, I do like the soundtrack. It's it's very simple, but it's the banging of the drums, and it kind of creates the way Harry Manfredini did for Voorhees and John Carpenter did for Michael Myers. You always have the music come with the guy.
Yeah. Fucking A. Well, I guess we can never have fucking good audio ever again.
So, yes, going back to Michael Myers and Voorhees, you always have a certain type of sound or music that comes when Voorhees or Myers is coming. And this has it. Mm-hmm. When Ramses is coming, I mean, you have the banging of the drums. Yeah. It's simple. But it kind of creates that again. Here we go with the modern day, or not modern day, but, the 80s slasher, going into today. You have that where it's kind of like the introduction music. Oh, they're coming. Here they come. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's historically big for horror.
And I love the explanation, because Herschel Gordon Lewis did the music on this movie. Yep. And I really love the explanation of why he did the music on the movie, which was because I knew what I wanted for the music, and I figured I could do it. And then he immediately started going into a story about how he mixed up a viola and a cello.
Love it. I love it.
And like they're in completely different what do you call it? Like
what, like a type of acoustic range?
Yeah, they're in different ranges.
Yeah, I just think it's historically big for horror.
Yeah, this is, if you're a big horror fan, you've got to watch this movie.
It's huge
because this is one of the movies.
Yeah, it's one of the OGs. I mean, this is, I wouldn't say the birth of a slasher, but it gave John and what's his face? Oh, Steve, isn't it? I don't remember. Sean Cunningham.
Yes, Sean
Cunningham for Voorhees.
Well, I mean, Sean Cunningham basically just made a rip-off of Halloween.
He did. But I mean, it's still significant.
But
I mean, it created him. So.
Yeah, and I mean, anyone who complains about like, there's nothing original anymore, and just remember, like, almost all of like the first movies were all movie versions of Broadway plays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, people talk about, I want to say it's like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and movies like that, and it's like all of those movies were originally Broadway plays. Sometimes starring...
You're gonna go on another rant, John.
Sometimes starring the same actors.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's culturally big.
Yeah.
That's my good. What about your bad, John? Anything in the bad?
There's not a lot going on with the plot in this movie.
No, there isn't too much to it.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think the plot works for what the movie is.
Right. It's an exploitation film.
Yeah.
It is.
Herschel Gordon Lewis is considered like a grandfather of exploitation.
Yeah. And it shows.
And this...
it shows.
I think they said this is his second film.
Oh, yeah.
I think they said that in the... Because I think they kept referring to Scum of the Earth as being their first film.
Yep.
And Scum of the Earth, according to the back of the box, which I'm looking at right now, also came out in 1963.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Because this set has... this is 2 discs of 6-disc set. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of movies to watch for that.
Well, we have a lot of movies in general to watch.
God damn it. Oh, we got a lot. It's all right.
Hey.
Well, we're plugging through it.
We'll never run out.
Nope. Literally never. Unless the writers and the actors strike forever.
Well, we have such a backlog.
I know we do.
We'll be talking about like the best years of our lives and shit.
When we're fucking ancient, having kids running around.
Watching Hell's Angels. Like, this is Hell's Angels by Howard Hughes. Or
sure.
Is that his name?
I don't know.
Who's the guy from The Aviator? That
Howard Hughes.
Yeah, Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
He made Hell's Angels and The Outlaw, and I think those might be the only 2 movies he actually made himself.
Okay.
And I have both of those movies.
Of course you do. Of course. All right.
But
we do stand in support for the writers and the actors.
Hell yeah.
Damn right. We did not say that last time, but we do.
Well, yeah. I guess we should say that because I was just like, I don't know when these are coming out necessarily, but like they come out in 2 weeks. I assume the SAG-AFTRA strike will still be happening. I would imagine
they're going to still go strong.
Yeah. Don't support any studios while the strike is going.
Right.
Like, do your best. And also send angry emails to people at Netflix and shit.
Mm-hmm. Corporate execs.
Because remember, anytime you're complaining about SAG-AFTRA striking, just remember the reason they decided to... One of the big reasons they decided to strike, first off, all of this strike stuff kicked off partially because of, if I remember right, it was the new Spider-Man animated movie, because they were having people work like 70 hours.
Yep.
And like they were working fucking crazy animation hours to get the movie out. And so the writer's strike happened. Then the production companies outright said that we're just going to starve them out. So SAG-AFTRA struck.
And plus it has to do a lot with residuals as well.
Well, yeah, it also has to do with residuals.
I mean, I think that's a big thing.
Really, the big thing that kicked off SAG, that started all of this, because a lot of that is kind of like straw that broke the camel's back type stuff. The really big one was HBO Max going through and fucking everybody.
Yeah.
And they're currently doing that again with Venture Brothers, because...
I think we should wait to the end to discuss this, because we're still in the middle of bad.
Fuck it. This is bad.
Yes, it is. It is.
Anyway, we can talk about stuff later.
Yeah.
Support your local strikes.
Damn right.
Also, UPS is probably going to strike soon, too.
Sorry about your Amazon packages that are parcel.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It's okay.
Man.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have anything for the bad. I mean, this is a very cut and paste movie.
I guess you could put acting in the bad. There's there's some bad acting.
What do you expect? It's an exploitation film.
It's an exploitation film.
I mean, with a guy who
like
literally
$20.
I mean, the guy literally he did 3 movies. That Mao guy.
Who?
The guy who played Ramses. He had 3 movies.
Really?
He had 2 of these, and then he had another one.
Wait, was he in the second one too?
Yeah, that's what they said. That's how they met.
We're gonna have to find the second one.
Yeah. Yep. I don't have anything for the ugly, obviously, besides what you just went on your rant about with the animal parts. But what are you gonna do back then? This is 1963. And this is ancient times. Really, in terms of film.
Honestly, if they got it from a butcher, then whatever, those animals were gonna be dead anyway.
They were dead. I mean, they were dead.
The parts were just gonna get thrown away, so might as well use them in a movie.
Sure, why not?
And if you have a problem with that and you eat meat, I don't know what to tell you. Fuck yourself.
Right. Right. I do kind of with the ugly. I mean, it was very, very attractive women. You know, they really didn't have any really hideous, or uglier women. Because they were kind of exploiting that.
Oh.
For obviously sexual being, for that part. Everybody was big and busty. Did you notice that?
I didn't as much, honestly. Okay. But, I just think it's funny that you're just like, one of the, in the bad is, there were no ugly women.
No, it was the ugly. I mean, because it's trying to be
I was gonna say,
sexually exploited.
But there's no nudity in this movie.
I know.
They in the commentary, they even specifically talked about, there was one moment that they got away with. Mm-hmm. Did you notice? Yeah. There was a nip slip at the very beginning of the first kill.
Yeah.
But say what you want, there's no nudity, and they intentionally our show has heavier language than this movie does.
It does.
Because they specifically they had said there wasn't really anything like this before.
Nope.
there wasn't there weren't really gore pictures like this before this one, according to them.
Yeah.
So what they wanted to make this movie, but they were like, hey, the censors are going to come down on us, even though technically there's nothing against it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to make everything else about this movie as clean as possible.
Yeah.
That way they can't technically say anything.
Right. Yeah. And they did.
And they did. And people still like throw a fit. Like they talked about the newspaper in Kentucky refusing to print the word blood in movie titles, but then like shortly after that, the movie for In Cold Blood, the Truman Capote book, came out.
Yeah.
And so they had trouble in Kentucky because of it.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, well, we could just change our title, but like, what are they going to do?
Right. Yeah, so that's kind of my ugly.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yep.
I mean, not a lot of diversity as far as
No.
Oh, I don't. The killer, he's a white guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Like the actor.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an ugly because he's supposed to be Egyptian or Syrian or some such Middle Eastern type person in this.
Yep. Themes and symbols.
Do what you can with what you got.
Exactly. That's where you just throw up your hands and you just go with it.
This is all right. Themes and symbols. This is a look. A lot of exploitation makers or filmmakers have actively put themes and messages into their movies.
Yep.
This is not one of them.
It is not.
There might be a little bit of something.
No.
But
really nothing.
There's nothing complex here.
No. Stewart wanted it just to be... He wanted it to be exploitative to be exploitative.
Yep.
That's it.
He outright talked about... They wanted... Why did they make this movie? He actively said the reason that he made this movie was because he wanted to make something that nobody had ever seen before.
Yep.
And the answer to that was gore, because they had been making a lot of like those weird nudist colony movies that were really big in like the early 60s. Yep. And he got tired of that, and it kind of got oversaturated, so he was like, well, we're not really exploitation.
Right.
We're not really exploiting anything if everyone's doing it, right? So, like, let's move on to something else that's fucking crazy.
Correct.
And they decided to run head over heels with violence and gore.
Sure.
And
they did a good job.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yep.
Herschel Gordon Lewis went on to make...
I said it, Stuart. Yeah, Herschel, sorry.
Like Stuart Gordon?
Yeah.
I mean, Stuart Gordon...
I mean, we did have our Stuart Gordon last August.
Oh, did I show you? I actually got a Blu-ray of The Dentist.
You did, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Because Vestron released... shortly after we made our video, we recorded our video, Vestron Video released a Dentist collection.
Oh, God, you got the other ones?
It comes with the 2 movies.
Oh.
So it's Dentist and Dentist 2.
Oh. Corbin Burnson, gotta love him.
Got it for $10.
Nice. Nice. Okay, final thoughts.
Final thoughts? I don't know.
Final thoughts is what I have for the good. Watch it.
Final thoughts is that this movie is legendary for the time it came out, and it is. This is one of the movies that horror fans talk about and love and hold dear.
Mm-hmm. It's the start of a franchise. It's a start of something bigger than that.
I don't know about a franchise, but it's definitely the start of something bigger than it is.
Yes.
This little 67-minute movie kind of changed the way the film landscape is.
Right.
In its own way.
Yep.
It, tons of people copied this movie, changed this movie, took what they wanted and left the rest from this movie.
No doubt.
And, that
says something.
That says something about it.
Yep.
Although, I would say that is outright just a thing that Hollywood does. This is just...
Yeah.
like, anytime anyone's just like, oh, there's no original ideas, I'm like, there are never original ideas.
Right, it's all piggybacking.
Everything has always been built on top of everything else.
Yeah, so everything is piggybacked.
Art is not an individual piece. Art is like a brick wall, and every single piece of art has been built on top of the backs of all of the art that has come before it.
Correct.
So it's really important to remember that, and that's 100% true with movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Roger Corman. I heard an interview with Roger Corman, I think on Joe Bob, and he outright said that film is a corrupted art form, or something like that. And what he means by that is that film is a business. Since making a film is very expensive, it is always going to be corrupted by the business aspect of it. And that is like a really big thing. But sometimes little people like come through.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. I guess that's all I have to say, really, too.
Yeah, but give it a watch.
Support SAG-AFTRA.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Go Union.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, that's all I got.
Well,
thanks everybody.
How do we end the show?
Just thank everybody and make sure you're vaccinated.
Thank you. Subscribe.
Yep, subscribe.
Oh yeah, the things.
That's how we end the show. We didn't do that last
time.
Fuck. It's alright.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm sure it'll all fall together.
Make sure that everybody was still watching at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody.
All the people who are still watching.
Yeah, thank you everybody.